Oh, wait a minute. I'm already streaming. What the heck? Oh, wait a minute. I'm already streaming. And I have audio confirmation. Still not quite used to the different way that this gets started in OBS Studio. I selected the broadcast I wanted to use. Oh yeah, it said select and start streaming. That's why. All right. Because there's another place where I can just select it and I have to do another button to actually start. I couldn't. All right. Guess I need to take a course. Good morning. It's 9 o'clock a.m., December 1st, 2023. Now, that date has some special characteristics to it. Hang on. Oh, my throat these days. Come on. This was originally Ken Stout's intended date for the New Year's Eve long 12-hour debacle on November 31st. Yesterday was November 30th, so today must be November 31st, and that's what Ken Stout originally told us was going to be his New Year's Eve party. Well, then the other thing is last night on Ken Stout's show, he announced that that's the end of Movember. Movember being the month for recognizing or bringing attention to men's health. Like right here, Movember is an annual event involving the growing of mustaches during the month of November to raise awareness of men's health issues such as prostate cancer, testicular cancer, and men's suicide. And so because he said that it was the end of it, he said that it's tomorrow, December 1st, it's okay to shave. So I shaved this morning. Yeah. Ken said it was okay to shave this morning, so I shaved this morning. How about that? And let's see. Now he said he was going to shave. Now since it was Movember, and Mo is part of the word for mohawk, I think he ought to have a beard hawk or a beard mohawk. How about that? He shaves it in such a way that he leaves a mohawk like that. All right, what's he gonna do? I've got some pictures from Danielle Emberly, and she mentioned that in chat this morning. And yeah, let's go look at pictures from Danielle Emberly. Oh, one moment before I go there, I received an email from a person who has been very regular in watching the live streams, but not very active in chat. And I just want to acknowledge him anonymously. He has to stay anonymous. And he gave me a very nice Amazon gift card as well, and gave me a few paragraphs just telling me about himself. So if there's others of you who are watching these videos and it's just not your thing to participate in chat, and you'd like to let me know who you are, and he sent a few paragraphs, very enjoyable to read and get to know him a little bit through what he was telling me about himself. And so yeah, thank you very much. You know who you are, and if there's anyone else who's thinking that they might want to connect with me on that level, I'm not going to be doing much email back and forth. I will acknowledge you since you're not involved in the chat room, but yeah, I'd love to hear from you. I've previously said that emails are just for asking questions, but that's another category of email that's okay for those who do not participate in chat or even in comments. If you'd like to let me know who you are and that you're watching and whatever else you have to say, I'd like to hear that. Now, Danielle, let's go. Let's see, where do I have that? I have that over here. So just to remind you, for those who don't remember, don't know, Danielle Emberly, she reported back, I think it was on Saturday, that she'd been having troubles with her computer locking up or freezing. And so we had some conversation back and forth through the shows and through email. And last Saturday, we must have been talking about before last Saturday a little bit, but last Saturday it came out that her BIOS was reporting a very high voltage going to the CPU. And Jim KJ3N, I think, had a verbal reaction to that. I think he was in Zoom, if I'm remembering correctly, and said, "What? No, that's a problem." And so since then, she's replaced the motherboard, and she's given us pictures of Crystal Disk Info for all of her drives and pictures of her computer. So that's what I'm going to show here. Let's see. Here's the first of her Crystal Disk Info, and she put in these comments on the different pages. This one is showing the C drive. Crystal Disk Info drive used or have been used with the AMD 5700G build that was freezing. I had asked her for this because that's been a common cause of freezing, is troubles with the storage drives. That was not her trouble, and she sent these anyway, so thank you very much for these. So I've already looked through these, and for critical warning were zeros. All of the things that are flags to be worried about are showing up as zeros. Median data integrity errors is zeros. I'm not going to read through each one of those. This was an SSD. It's a Samsung 970 EVO Plus, 1 terabyte, and that's her C drive. Now scroll down here, and all of these over here on the right side, those are the text-based comments that she's put in here. So it's like this Crystal Disk Info drives used. It's the same thing that shows over here. So I'm not going to be pointing out this stuff on the right. Now this serial number right here, she put a blank white box over the serial number. If I were to drag that away, it would expose the serial number, but she very wisely has covered that. I have heard people say that you shouldn't expose your serial numbers on the internet. The things that a person could do with that, I'm not sold on it. So I've exposed my serial numbers once in a while, but I will respect that she has blocked those out. And there may be some extra reason there that I'm not aware of. If you want to tell me about it, go ahead. It's not anybody. Now here's a different drive. This is the E drive, a Western Digital 4 terabyte. It's a 5400 RPM spinning drive. It's a gold color Western Digital portable hard disk drive, so it's connected by USB. This drive is being used with the Macrium Reflex scheduled backups. This one was definitely associated with audio and video freezing that would require a manual shutdown. Now that's interesting. So she's saying when she had this one connected, it seemed to be causing the audio and video freezing. Now could that be that it just gave that extra stress to the computer that was already had a motherboard problem that was causing excessive voltage going to the CPU? Maybe. I'm not sure on that. For read error rate, there's zeros. Spin up time, reallocated sector counts is 0. Temperature, this shows health status good, temperature good. So nothing alarming there. So I'm interested, Danielle, to find out, does this drive work completely fine with your computer after you replace the motherboard? My guess is yes, it's not causing you any trouble. Then we'll go down to the next one. And here's a Milan 2 512 gigabyte drive. It's an SSD. It's currently being shown as the D drive, so it's health status good and temperature 43. Reallocated sectors is 0. There's a bunch of vendor-specific items here that are intriguing. It doesn't tell us, so the smart info that reports from the drive to the operating system, I guess, is not identifying what these different categories are used for on that drive. I've not seen that before. I'm not even familiar with the name Milan as a drive. Then if we go down here, this temperature, that looks like a really high number, but they probably take that in segments. It's common that four of the characters, 4 of the digits in that hexadecimal number will be used to indicate something, and another 4 is something else. And you can see here, this is 0044, that's 4 digits. So the actual number there is 44 hexadecimal. This number is 0012, so it's communicating 12 hexadecimal, whatever that means to that drive manufacturer. And then the last set of 4 is a 2B, or not to be. That's the question. The vendor specifics items here, total host writes and reads. So nothing here that we see to be alarmed about. That is a silver color Western Digital portable SSD currently used for Macrium Reflex scheduled backups. Now this one up here was being used for Macrium Reflex scheduled backups. So because this one was causing freezings and shutdowns, I'm assuming that's why she's using this one now. But I'd be interested to know, Danielle, when you connect this one with the new motherboard, does it not exhibit that same symptom? And then here's the last one, Western Digital. I think this was the last one. This one's currently recognized as the F drive. It's a 3 terabyte spinning drive, 5400 RPM, USB connected. Read error rate zeros. We got reallocated sectors count 0. Seek error rate is 0. Yeah. Then what else we got down here? Temperature reallocation event count 0. Uncorrectable sector 0. Write error rate 0. So all of those, and ultra error count 0. All of those error numbers are looking fine. Not continuous. This one is a white color Western Digital portable hard disk drive, not continuously connected. Oh, one more. Look at here. Here we got something interesting. We got a yellow caution. 19 degrees. It's Western Digital, 4 terabyte, 5400 RPM, USB connected. Read error rate is 0. Reallocated sectors is 0. Seek error rate is 0. Spin count retry 0. Recalibration retry 0. I'm just looking at the ones that are errors or warnings. Reallocation event count 0. Current pending sector count 8. Uncorrectable sector count 0s. Error count, ultra DMA 0. Write error 0. So none of the numbers here to be concerned about appear to be the source of the caution. What is the source of the caution? This is a navy-colored Western Digital portable hard disk drive no longer used. Well, I was wondering about the power on hours. So let's try this. Instead of calling out her name, I'll just push her button. I'm pushing her button. Divide 16,250 by 24.
Good morning, Doug. 16,250 divided by 24 is approximately 677.0833.
So 677 continuous days of operation, although it probably hasn't been running that long. So could it just be caution because of its lifespan expectancy? I'm thinking maybe. Ran Israel says highlighted in yellow. Ran Israel C5. Isn't I C5? Is there something wrong with C5? Oh, there's the yellow. Thank you. I didn't even look there. Absolutely. See yellow here? Find the yellow here. Current pending sector account 8. So that should be indicating there's data in memory waiting to be written. That is kind of unbelievable. Current pending sector count. So that's probably not what it means. My deduction of what current pending sector count means is probably wrong. But yeah, thanks for pointing that out. That's the reason. When I first looked at this, I didn't see any cause for alarm. I was looking over at these numbers and didn't even look over here. So, duh. Good. And that was the last one. Yeah. So take some research to figure what that is, I suppose. It's a 4 terabyte drive. I would wonder if Steve Gibson's program, what's it called? Bueller. What's it called? Steve Gibson's program for Spinrite. Yeah, Long Dog came up with Spinrite just after I said it. Yeah, I wonder if that would revive that drive to where it would be usable again. Okay, now let me move on to some other pictures from Danielle. Let's see, where do I have that? Nope, not there. Oh. Well, I guess I closed that window that was ready to show the other set of pictures, so I'll go find that. over here, and then here. So these are pictures for replacing her motherboard. Here we go. So this is the front of her case. Some USB ports on the front. Looks like maybe a power button and a reset button. Silverstone Farah R1 lightweight steel ATX case. I like the weight, but I would not sit on it. Then here's inside the case. She'd already removed the motherboard by the time that I had asked for pictures. So you can see here where the motherboard mounts and the I/O would be out this panel. A case fan would be here. You've got your PCI slots on the left-hand side, a couple case fans on the right. Down here at the bottom, she says old motherboard and rear case fan removed. That rear case fan being over here. Power supply is underneath this panel. I don't know if you can see me moving my mouse around there very well. Yeah, it's not, doesn't show up very well. Down here is with the new motherboard installed. Got the case fan back in place. Here's the CPU cooler. It's got a fan on each side. We got two memory boards installed, and it looks like two PCI 16 slots, and then these shorter ones, those are PCI 4s, aren't they? Yeah, she's pointing out the fan connectors and the USB 3 connectors. Down here, the text says MSI B550 Tomahawk motherboard and rear case fan installed. With new motherboard, had to move the front case connectors to the top right of the motherboard. USB 3 connector had to be moved to the lower right of the motherboard. Other motherboard connectors were used in approximately the same location as the previous motherboard. And then here's showing the back side of the case, right? Yeah, rear of case. So we're seeing there's the motherboard visible through that cutout in the panel that's mounted on. Here's the power supply. This looks like a drive bay. Let's see, rear of case. No drive in the 3.5-inch drive cage. Now, isn't that the three? Oh, you know what? I think that's the 3.5-inch drive cage, and maybe this is a cage or a cassette that the drive would be mounted in. Pull that out and then mount the drive inside of that cage or cassette, I suppose. With my original build, I did route one extra SATA cable for future use. I did find with style of case with front connectors, I spent considerable time trying to figure out how to route those front case wires cables so that one could remove the front panel easily, free up enough cable so that you could pull the front panel off and away from the case. So this is the front panel on the left side. As we're looking at it, she wants to be able to pull that off and have enough cable length that she could pull that off. That's the last of those pictures. All right, nice looking computer. Nice looking computer. And I'm trying to get back to this screen and then pop out chat. Oh, tomorrow, Saturday, unusual start time. We're going to do the 9 a.m. Pacific. So it's the same start time as today for Saturday, tomorrow. A reason for that is because Fortnite has a big live event at 11 a.m. Pacific tomorrow, and Dennis and I are going to participate in that. Now, let's come over here. And tomorrow's show will only be an hour long. Josh is up to bat for a remote connection to do something with his backup system that I don't expect to take long, but we've heard that before, right? Famous last words. Yeah, let's see. Alice is the first comment up here. Hello, everyone. I guess that's because of the top chat. Let's change that to live chat. Does that go away then? Yeah, well, at least now I can see it. Jeff Ryman, Sin Vicious, Danielle Emberly. She mentions having sent the photos. Thank you again for that, Danielle. And Even though you weren't looking for assistance or help, it's fun and interesting to see what people are working on. Rick, Tim Sal, Alice, he's changed to December 31st. Yeah, he's decided to hold New Year's Eve on December 31st to join the rest of the world instead of November 31st. Ken Stout, you are a day off, my friend. I said November 32nd, such a Doug. You know what? That does sound vaguely familiar. So I guess that's going to be tomorrow. Oh, well. I never claimed to be accurate. Just close. Zavi Minor, hello. Lawn Dog, I be here. How about the Mohawk beard? Are you going to give us a Mo beard? Mo beard, yeah. Lawn Dog, I be here, but this morning is very foggy mentally speaking. I have to get some coffee in me to revive me before I can participate. Dennis is joined and catching up. Greg M is pausing. Is there a stream problem? Does he mean buffering? Let's see, I'm looking at my numbers. 10,000 per second, no drop frames. So OBS Studio is claiming everything's okay. Jim says, so basically I got it right. You're welcome. Yes, and thank you to Jim. Rick Lakes, hello, Dennis. Latest Fortnite news. We won 2 and lost 1. Our squad earned a crown victory at the end. Yeah, Dennis went to play with Hexona partway through our show this morning, so I went and played a solo. I got 40-something place on the first one. I got first place against humans solo. That was kind of fun. I was proud of that. Ken Stout, Lawn Dog, it appears the Milan drive might be from Fujitsu. Lawn Dog's also never heard of it. Dennis gave us a link for his premiere. Thank you, Dennis. Daniel, the gold color drive still gives trouble with the new motherboard. Yeah, so there you go. Might it, now the gold color, is that the one that had the yellow? The gold color, the yellow one. This is the navy color. No, the gold color was this other one. Going up here. Here, the gold color was used with Macro and Reflect scheduled backups. This was associated with the problem. So there's no numbers here that gives us reason for concern, but yet it's causing bad behavior, causing problems with the computer. Still gives trouble with the new motherboard. Lawn Dog, can you clarify something when we're looking at the drive specs for errors? After changing the motherboard, to me the drive should have its original errors recorded unless there was a new drive installed. Let's see. When we're looking at the drive specs for errors, after changing the motherboard, to me the drive should have its original errors recorded unless there was a new drive installed. Well, the errors are recorded in the in the drive itself. This is the smart reporting system. Crystal Disk Info does not do any testing of the drive. It's only asking the drive, hey, how's it going? And the drive reports to Crystal Disk Info, it's smart info, smart reporting info. There's some other word there, smart something info. So that's what the drive has collected and stored within itself. So that's through its entire life. Doesn't matter that you've changed motherboards or that you've moved it to another computer. You should be able to move the drive from one computer to another and see the same numbers that you recently showed on the previous computer. So does that answer your question there, Lawn Dog? And that is my understanding of it, but I feel pretty confident that's correct. Wow, somebody's got a pretty elaborate setup. That's what happens over time. And here's Rand Israel and Oystein pointing out that C5 was the one that having the problem. Current pending sector count. I'd like to know more about what does that pending sector count mean. Well, let's go see if it's that easy to Google it. Control C, go over to a new tab. What does that mean? What are pending sectors? Precursor to reallocated sectors. That's an indicator of the dead hard drive on the horizon. If the current pending sector count is increasing, it means that your hard drive is imminent to fail. All right. That did not sound like such a current pending sector count. Didn't sound quite so condemning to me. So yes, it is. You know, Doug, it sounds like the drive's been in operation about 2 years. If it's a drive with 1 year guarantee, maybe as you're speculating, is given a caution warning. Found some drive errors. I'm so sorry. Okay, so you guys found some drive errors. I'm sorry, I just can't see them. Spinrite. When I was asking for the name of that. Current sector spin smart. That's what I was trying to. It's the smart. Well, that's why I said smart reporting. It's an acronym. It has a bunch of extra words. It's a smart parameter that shows the current count of unstable sectors on your disk, which should be remapped. Interesting. So why doesn't it remap them? Yeah, if it's unstable sectors, isn't the whole idea behind these drives that they'll rewrite them to a different sector? That's good, and then mark those as bad? Why doesn't that happen? Greg, if I interpret what you guys found about the errors, it sounds like available space for reallocation is getting low. Well, if that was the case, that should show on the numbers. Let's get to that one. It's the last one, I think. Reallocated sectors count is 0. So why is it at 0 reallocated if this pending sector count needs to be reallocated? Why hasn't it moved that? Reallocation event count, it hasn't moved them. So it's like it's saying that these sectors need to be moved, but it has not moved them. So is that the failure? That for some reason this drive is unable to move those to another location? I don't know. Above my pay grade, but curious. Personally, these days I would get a new drive. Yeah, well, she's told us that she's not using that drive anymore. That alarm you just heard was my reminder to check to see if Ken Stout has a show. This is Friday, so I need to also set up, there's no show pending for Ken. This is Friday, so I need to set up a redirect to Carrie Holzman's show. So I should have done that before starting the show. This morning's trailer was the first of those top of the chart songs starting from the 1980s. So that was 1980, first couple months. So here's the show, 12 o'clock p.m. Pacifiers time. Yellow, anything means replace the drive. It's only going downhill from here. Generally speaking, Spinrite could fix the drive. Given the price of drives today, I would replace it or just use it for the purpose that are correct. That is absolutely on point. Because of prices, it's really not justifiable to try to revive it. It's just the curious technician in me that just says, I wonder if it could fix it. But yeah, you're better off just replacing it. Just not that expensive. Assuming that you're concerned about whatever you're using that drive for. If it was a drive that you needed to have that space available, but you're never concerned about losing it suddenly, then, well, maybe okay. Wow, somebody's doing a great job and probably should be a review person for computer equipment. Somebody's doing a great job and probably should be a review person for computer equipment. Are you saying me? Who, yeah. Oh, no, that's because of all her comments. That's probably because of all of Danielle's comments. That's what I'm going to say is reviewing that case, because she's telling us stuff about it. For where everything is laid out is kind of like my Be Quiet case. I have extra drive bay located in the same configuration. Dennis will not be streaming the event, but I will be there. Oh, well, I'm going to stream it. Ken live is 12-hour stream on December 31st. Yes, Ken is doing a 12-hour stream on December 31st and January 1st, right? Yeah, he's doing on December 31st and January 1st. Chris Garrett says, hello, will be New Year's Eve and New Year's morning. Yes, don't leave that out. Great to hear. Lawn Dog to Danielle. Excellent photos and all the effort you put in to give us the information. That's fantastic. You got some great skills. Yeah, she's got skills with Adobe Acrobat too. She took her photos, put them into Adobe Acrobat. She must have the full version, and added in those text explanations and blocked out her serial number. And yeah, she's got some skills. Ken Stout, I have it rescheduled for 9 a.m. Pacific time in direct competition with Fortnite. Have it rescheduled for 9 a.m. today or tomorrow? He has his December 31st, New Year's Eve, scheduled for 9 a.m. No. What does he have scheduled in competition with Fortnite? Oh, it must be tomorrow. No, tomorrow I'm doing the Saturday show at 9 a.m. Fortnite tomorrow is 11 a.m. I don't know what he's talking about there. That just means today's Tuesday. Or no, today's a day that ends with Y. And I don't understand something that Ken Stout says. Speedy says, hello. Short buffer a while back. So short refresh buffer. Greg M. was pausing when I made that comment, but it's fine now. Brian, live on December 31st, Ken Stout will be shaving off his beard. It's going to be a hairy situation. Oh, that's right. He's doing that on New Year's. Not today. I want to see a Mo beard. Mo beard. That would be hair-raising experience. Doug, the first few drives we were looking at didn't show any kind of significant errors. True that. So the order in which things were replaced, I was just curious to see if a new drive was installed with the new board. No. And it's great that you reviewed for the audience where the smart info is held. I'd be knowledgeable enough to know that. It's the yellow indicator that sold me from RAN. Yeah, I did not even look on the left. I'm so drawn to those numbers on the right-hand side. I didn't even look on the left, and I was thinking, why is that yellow up there? And I never looked on the left side. Danielle, right now I'm thinking it's not worthwhile to spend my time and money to return old board via RMA process just to have a spare for future troubleshooting. From comments, I see poor RMA experiences. Yeah, I would agree with that. You could spend a lot of time, and if that's not something you enjoy doing, right? Who enjoys going through an RMA process, especially if you're not accustomed to it and know the ropes, know the ins and outs? If you were to get another board, that means you have an extra board on hand. You're going to be bored to begin with, but it means you could have it for troubleshooting if you ever need it. Let's see. I would suspect that our favorite program for hard drive, Spinrite, would move those suspicious data blocks, but it's interesting that Smart detects them but isn't acting upon them at perceived data integrity. I'm thinking it must be that the drive is somehow defective and it can't move them. Yeah, because why wouldn't it move them? Do you know, over the years, Steve Gibson, when he talks about Spinrite correcting a problem, he claims that the program does its job, and he continues on with the drive with high confidence. Yes. Yeah, I do know that. For people who have gained a level of confidence with Spinrite, they're probably good with that. You know, you got things properly backed up. I wouldn't have a problem with it, but I'm very curious about it. In most environments, though, like for my clients, I would not do that because the time that I would spend even running Spinrite, that's going to exceed the cost of a replacement drive in most cases. So, yeah, it's a tough sell for many people. The high confidence comment is my wording, but Steve basically says you continue to use it without worry. Yeah, I think it's a fair thing for him to say, but you've got to spend your time with and have your equipment take the time to do that process. Rand to Danielle, I'd try anyway. Worst case scenario, you're not disappointed. Other scenarios, you can only be a pleasant surprise. That's in regards to the RMA process. Now, Danielle, maybe if you're got it all a little bit of the Doug in you, you might be curious to see how it goes and just have the experience of going through an RMA. And if it gets to be too much of a nuisance, just drop it. Basically, over the years, people who use Spinrite, wanted to know, who use Spinrite, wanted to know that if Spinrite corrects problems, should they continue to use the drive? Daniel uses a PDF editor from Tracker Software Company, not the full Adobe Acrobat. Well, that makes sense because all she was doing was some very basic level editing work. You don't need the full-blown Adobe Acrobat Professional, I think it's called. Adobe Acrobat Reader, we know what that is. Adobe Acrobat Standard, Adobe Acrobat Professional is, I think, what they call the full version. One dog to Daniel, I'd be very envious. I'm going back to looking into that piece of software you just said. Who knows what kind of useful things I could do with it. Oh, the PDF editor. Yeah, I've used several different PDF editors. Some of my clients, when they don't want to spend the high price tag, very high price tag for Adobe Acrobat, all they need to do is make some minor changes, fill in the blanks, things like that. There's many free PDF editors that will do that. Editing things is something I need to conquer in the future. And actually, the current version of Adobe Acrobat Reader can do some editing. I earned 50 levels in Fortnite, have earned Runway Racer. Greg M. Again, Spinrite's day was from 2 decades ago. Well, no, the new version of Spinrite, I believe, is available. Didn't he just announce a couple weeks ago? The new version is available now, and it does NVMe drives, it does SSDs, it does external drives, it does wide variety of things. But it's up until a couple months ago, the publicly available Spinrite was 2 decades old. Can't move it if it can't read it. Well, can't move it if it can't read it. If it can't read it, won't it go ahead and just mark that as bad and reallocate the other sectors so that the sectors it can't read will stop being used? Seems like it should be able to mark those as bad so that the drive can continue being used, because it's basically condemning itself by saying, hey, I can't read them, therefore you can't use the drive anymore. It's not quite saying that, but it seems like it could block them out and just call that lost data. You're explaining everything the way I look at it. If I use Spinrite, I like you would take the drive and use it to see how confident it would make me feel using that drive has been repaired. Now, here's the place where I would be looking to use Spinrite, is if a client had a drive that was not backed up and they really, really cared trying to get the data off of that drive, then I'd be willing to use Spinrite to try to recover it and then put that data onto a different drive. And I wouldn't have my client continue using that because I don't have the level of confidence in it that Steve has. And the cost just isn't that high. I want to be able to give my client high assurance of reliability. So I would use Spinrite to try to recover the data. I would, before using Spinrite, I would try to do a forensic backup so that I could have a chance to take a second run at it, because Spinrite is destructive. It sounds like such an ugly word, but Spinrite makes changes to the troubled drive. So if you can make a forensic clone first, and it would just have to skip over the parts that it can't read. There's choices to do that, I think, options to make that choice. Using that has been repaired by Spinrite. Chris, I have PDF Complete. Yes, I've used PDF Complete. Oh my gosh, I'm over time. It could be worse. It could be deal with ADATA's RMA process. 2 months to replace a bad SSD. They are on my bad list now. Jim, do you have experience with warranty replacements, RMAs, for that motherboard that Daniel has. I'm going to skip over stuff now. Oh, PDF Exchange. Oh, this is the PDF product that she was using. You can use Word to edit a PDF if you know the trick. The problem with that, if you use Microsoft Word to edit a PDF, is it can change the formatting of the PDF. If the source PDF isn't compatible enough with Word's translation, I think that's going to cause you some trouble. Okay. I will finish reading those later. Oh, read errors on a sector will not remap the sector immediately. Since the correct value cannot be read, so the value to remap is not known, it also might become readable later. If there's a bad sector and it needs to reallocate it, doesn't that mean it can never read it? I can imagine that the drive might recognize that a sector is marginal, but it can read it and reallocate. But if it can't read that, is that going to stop the drive in its tracks? Alice asking, what causes bad sectors? Well, that's I'm not going to use the right words. The microscopic elements that hold a electrical charge can lose their capability to hold a charge. So it fails to hold the charge, and that causes bad sectors. That's one thing that could do it. And I think there's more to it, and I'm not really able to say that off the top of my head. So Wintermute, I think, was responding no, that it will not just mark that sector as bad and move forward. I guess that's what he means. Okay, so that'll do it. Tomorrow's will start 42 minutes ago, but tomorrow. 9 a.m. Pacific time tomorrow, and it'll be about an hour long. Have a great rest of your Friday, everybody, and a wonderful December 1st. And I guess tomorrow is November 32nd, Ken's New Year's Eve aborted celebration. Push the button, Doug. Stop this. Oh, there it is.